As BCBAs, many of us are trained on how to work with individuals on the autism spectrum and other exceptionalities. But what we aren't trained for is how to best work with their parents and build a strong relationship with them. Hi, I'm Shira.
And I'm Shayna.
We're behavior analysts that create weekly content about how to teach children with autism so that they make real progress. And we create shareable resources to make your job a little easier.
Today's topic is all about how to work with parents as a BCBA. And if you want more videos like this, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay updated on new video releases. So I didn't realize how important it was to communicate with parents in such a way that makes them feel so comfortable until I became a parent. And that sounds so silly because, of course, communication, everyone needs communication. You need to be able to talk with parents, caregivers about progress, but I don't think I ever realized how important, even open body language was, the frequency of communication until I became a parent. And what I mean by that is that, my daughter was 1 year old when I had to drop her off at daycare for the first time. She couldn't talk. And I didn't know, I didn't really know them very well, what have you. And, after the first day, I got this nice communication log from them saying, here's how she did, she ate this and she pooped this many times and she did this. And it was just something really little, but it went a long way. And they also, stayed and chatted with me for, a few minutes when I picked up, and they kept doing that. It was like they were essentially holding my hand throughout the first few weeks. And it was really, really nice to have. And, we should all be doing that as professionals.
Yeah, parents play such a large role in their child's life, and any program that, we're working on with their child, they're going to play a big role also. I'll never forget a few years ago when I started working with parents who contacted me about their teenager. So he had already been through many years of different people who were trying to work with him and different professionals. And they called me in and I came to their house and I had a meeting with them and I tried to help and I, took all the information that I could. I ended up not really being able to help this student for other reasons, but the feedback that I got from the parents was not that, well, you didn't really help us solve this problem, but it was, you were the first professional who came in and wasn't taking notes on a computer while we were talking. You were talking to us face to face. And that really resonated with me because they're people, we're talking to people, and I know how important it is that we have our data and our notes and our logs and our computers, but at the same time, we have to be able to relate to the people that we work with and their parents as human beings.
And, it is so important. I think the first step with talking to parents, if I could just give a one-liner and one suggestion when you're talking to parents, be compassionate. Be compassionate. What does that mean? Like Shira said, it means close your computer and really listen. Okay, if you need to take notes, ask them if it's okay to record the conversation on your phone, or some other type of, note collection, maybe a pad of paper. The good old fashioned way, a pad of paper and a pen, is way better than having, an open computer in front of you to block that communication. Same thing with your body language, really watch that body language and make sure that your arms aren't crossed. And that sounds really silly, but something little like that, if your arms are crossed, you look really closed. So just making sure you have that open body language and really showing parents in a nonverbal way, I'm listening, or I'm ready to listen to you. Go ahead.
And sometimes we get so stuck in our goals only because we mean well. We want to be effective, we want to make change, and we want that progress to happen quickly. But sometimes that's at the expense of taking other people's thoughts into consideration. So making sure that sometimes you're pausing and asking parents for their input and what do they feel like would be important, and having those conversations, even though sometimes it slows us down or it makes that change happen a little bit slower, incorporating them into that process and answering their questions and asking them what their priorities are for their child, because we may have our ideas of what we think is important, but it matters less as the parents' input and their ideas and the individuals, if they're part of this conversation, as to what is really going to make meaningful change for you.
That is so huge because, when parents have a say and they can, really determine some of the goals in the program, those goals are more likely to generalize. Those parents are more likely to follow through on those goals because they're the ones who chose them. Likewise, when I go in, I'm going in as a BCB, I'm going in as an ABA professional, but I always tell parents, Sure, I may be an ABA professional and I may be an expert in ABA, but as a parent, you're the expert in your child, period. You know your child better than anybody does. So please let me know, if you think this is working, not working, if you're seeing generalization at home, what your goals are, etc.
And when I was first starting out, I was a teacher before I was a BCBA. And I remember being so frustrated when parents wouldn't look into their kid's bag and get the notes that I sent and, follow up on everything that I told them to do. And then I had my own kids and I totally understand that parents are overwhelmed. Like we can't be giving them more work to do. We're supposed to be helping ease what's on their plate and take some of that burden. So let's have realistic expectations on what we expect parents to be able to implement, knowing that their plates are as full as they are.
And the other thing too is when you're communicating with parents and you're recognizing that they're, stressed out, that they're overwhelmed as well, really make sure you're highlighting their child's strengths. And, yes, there may be some other things that you're working on, but instead of just saying, your child engaged in these negative behaviors today, and leaving it at that, it should be, well, your child did really well at this, and this. And if you do have to say your child engaged in these negative behaviors today, don't leave it at that. And this is what we're doing to try and decrease those negative behaviors, or this is what we're doing to try and make this a more positive experience for your child.
I love that suggestion of always starting with something positive, because I think that goes a long way. And also remembering that when you're talking to parents, not to use all that behavioral jargon. We love technical terms. We love acronyms, and we love using terms that make us sound like we know what we're talking about, let's be honest, but it doesn't come across nice. And when we're talking to parents, you should really be trying your best to use as much everyday language as possible. So instead of even saying something like, well, we're looking to decrease the probability of this behavior happening, just say we're looking to help them be more successful. Like something as simple as that. And sometimes parents will nod along if we're using all that technical jargon, but in reality, they may just be afraid to ask, I don't really know what an FBA is, or I don't know what these terms mean. And so let's not expect that they do.
Somebody told me the analogy one time of a car mechanic. So, not everybody knows things about cars like myself. So when I go to a car mechanic, they tell me this and this and this and this are wrong with your car, and spark plugs and combustion, blah, blah, blah. I have no idea what they're talking about. So instead of asking, because I don't want to be that person, I go maybe ask one question, but then I nod and I just give them my key and go, okay, sounds okay. And that could be what parents are doing with us, because we're using all of that technical terms. So really making sure that we're using, more simplistic terms, but also, more analogies, more things that are relatable to them so that they really do understand.
And keeping that communication open, giving them a heads up when there's going to be a change in their schedule or a change in their staff member. I've learned that is really important, where I think okay, what does it matter? They're getting their services. It really does matter. Having that communication be open and being very transparent, because you're really building up a relationship of trust. And the more communication you can have, the more that trust happens.
We use a daily communication log, whether that's, a Microsoft Word document or whether that's something more secure on a HIPAA format. Or we just use a piece of paper and a pen. But we are giving out a communication log today, so you can see exactly, what we're highlighting for parents. So click this link in this video to get your free communication log to help you talk to parents about the child's day or the child's session.
And for more information on working with parents as a BCBA, visit howtoaba.com to claim your free download of a communication log. We also encourage you to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future videos, and leave a like and comment below if you have further questions.